Good day and welcome. Our guest today is an inspiration as we welcome a remarkable person. At 29 years of age, a female trailblazer who is defying expectations and shattering the glass ceiling. Her unwavering passion for activism has ignited a fire within her community as she paves a way for many. Her journey began on the dance floor, where she found solace in self-expression. Her early days at North Carolina Dance Theater under the guidance of the renowned Jean-Pierre Bonfox. Evident of her rare talent, renowned choreographer Debbie Allen describes Justine as a diamond in the rough. With her unyielding determination, she made her way to the bright lights of Los Angeles, California to further her training, honing her skills in various dance forms from ballet to hip hop. And at age 30, she blazes a trail of her own as she finds herself as the first openly transgender female ever to grace the NFL. Beyond the field, she's a powerhouse in the world of media as a successful podcaster, hosting an empowering show, Keeping It Sweet with Justine, and Real Time, Real Talk. Serving as a brand ambassador for Transcend Charlotte, an organization dedicated to creating a more inclusive world. Her advocacy work is fueled by love and compassion, and she continues to amplify her voice for those who need it most. Supported by a loving family, incredible friends, and a dedicated team. Please join me in welcoming and honoring Justine Lindsay to our show today. Justine, thank you so much for your time and welcome to Coffee with Chris.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. This is going to be a very, very funny and just heartfelt conversation amongst two friends. I'm just excited.
It's amazing to have you here. I love the story. I love what you're doing with yourself and your career, but I want to dive into it with you. How did you discover your passion for dance and what led you to pursue it as a profession?
I will say when I was very younger, I grew up in a very strict household. Both my grandmother and my mom, they just saw something in me at a very young age. Like, because I come from a very artsy family, but also majority of my family plays sports, from basketball to cheerleading to football to track, even volleyball. And so I just wanted to do something a little bit different. So I would say my first encounter with dance would have to be when I saw the Alvin Ailey Company. They were performing Revelations. And when I saw that, that really helped or kind of like shaped who I was as a performer. Because at that time I was young, but also too, I didn't see color, which I think a lot of, and when I mean color, I mean like I didn't objectify someone because they were Black, they were white, they were Hispanic, they were Dominican. It was just beautiful dancers on a stage, moving their bodies in a motion that was just crazy good. I said I wanted to do that. And so I just kind of try to figure out a way to do that. And so I met some incredible people, or to kind of help me get to where I am today. And ever since then, I never looked back. How it all started for me.
When you had that inspiration, that inspirational moment, what did you learn about yourself as you went down this journey of dance?
I would have to say, just don't limit yourself. Don't think that you are a sour apple in a bunch. Take up space. I know for me, because I didn't have any prior like gymnastics training or any type of dance training before I even got into dance.
Mhm.
So I would always be in my head like I'm not good enough. Or I remember vividly auditioning for a role in Snow White. I wanted a lead role, but I know that companies would normally go for their more seasoned or like performers who've been with the company, who's like a person who's like a senior in the dance school. So just kind of like replaying that in my mind, like I'm not good enough. But then having my dance teacher, who was from Moscow, Russia, tell me, listen, you're very talented. I see something in you. And then from there, that kind of like lit that fire that I needed for myself to just keep going. And so I think within like a year or two in the school, I went from a beginner to like an intermediate, and then from intermediate to advanced dancer, and that's pretty good, especially not having any prior dance experience or gymnastics or anything within the arts. So that was really, really good for me.
That's fabulous. When you talk about that inner rejection or doubt outside of those external people that were like, "No, Justine, you got this. You can do it." What other conflicting emotions did you have about yourself, and how did you, even though you had that fire lit to you, was there any moments where you just said, "Man, I got to put this fire out," or did you just throw more gas on the fire and said, "No, I'm going to get out of my own way"?
I think for me, it was just me telling myself, I need to get out of my own head. I need to get out of the way what's holding me back and just keep pushing forward. Because one thing about me, people who know me, they know that I'm very business savvy and I don't take no for an answer. I try to go as like at a straight line as much as I can. But for me, I don't stop. I keep going. I try to break down that wall or break down those barriers that are always being thrown at the norm. Because I feel like in order for you to change the narrative of how people think about you, you have to not give them that window of questioning, like, hey, X, Y, and Z. I don't give anyone the room or the time of day to question my abilities. So I just kept going. I mean, there were some times, don't get me wrong, we're all human, where I was like, like I just want to quit. But I have a family. I have an older brother and older sister. I was the youngest at one point. I was the youngest of five siblings. So being the youngest and having, like my older brother, my cousins, and my sister to look up to and see them do what they always love to do and continuing to do it, I think that just lit that fire that I needed. So I just kept on going.
When you talk about having that slight window of opportunity where people may or may not make an assumption or judge you, what do you feel that people tend to misunderstand about you the most?
I think it's just, just I think like the trans lifestyle. I think some people just I mean, don't get me wrong, we see the news, we see like we hear stories of, call girls and, escorting and things like that. I am a total different person, not throwing any type of shade to the ones that do that.
Right.
It's just that, that's not me. And so I just feel like, some people in society, I don't want to say everybody because that's the wrong way to go. But I would say some people in the world, they tend to just look at a trans person or a trans woman because you rarely hear it from a trans man. You normally hear from a trans woman
Mhm.
that, hey, like your only way to success or your only way to making money is being a call girl or being an escort.
Wow.
And that's not the case. I've been working since 2012 in college, working and never had to deal with, like the rejection of a job or, because I've always presented myself professional and I didn't give, again, I never gave that person, that manager or whoever the time of day to say no to me because I didn't take that. And if I didn't take it from my family, I'm not going to take it from anyone else. And so I just always had that mentality to just, keep your head up, regardless if they say, if they say no or yes, just to keep your head up. But that's definitely an avenue that I'm trying to change for the trans community. Is showing a different light because we're not all call girls, we're not all escorts. Some of us are doctors, surgeons, lawyers, teachers, politicians, professional dancers, and we're making these strides because we want to change the narrative in a positive one. So
When we talk
yeah.
about and trans, I appreciate you sharing that. What kind of support or resources were helpful to you, or can you share any sites for family and friends watching that we can be more supportive in helping with one's transition process?
Absolutely. Well, I will say, Chris, I didn't have a lot of support only because I didn't know any trans women or men when I was growing up. Mind you, when I was growing up, I'm a 92 baby, so you can understand this was during the Clinton administration going into the Bush administration. Don't ask, don't tell kind of era. And so growing up, being young, I did not know what to do I didn't know who to turn to. Also, too, growing up in the church, um, that's kind of frowned upon that you're gay, but that you are a part of the LGBTQ community. And so, because I didn't have that type of support when at that time, I didn't really, I kind of did everything on my own. I did my own research. Um, and funny thing, I didn't even have to go through therapy to
Okay.
train, which that, it's not everybody's story. The next girl maybe had to go through therapy, but I didn't have to because, again, I literally told my doctors, I know who I am. I knew who I was ever since I was little. I don't need a doctor to try to change my mental capacity to tell me or prepare me for the world because the world is either going to accept you or shut you out. It's either two ways to go at it. So I just kind of just went in it on my own and just kind of as I went through the whole process, just ask questions. Once I started to familiarize myself with people within the LGBT community, like, hey, how did you do this? Or hey, do you do this? Hey, do you take this? Do you take that? What to stay away from. And so one of the key helpful tips that I got from a young girl was don't do drugs, which I don't, which is a fabulous, thing. Don't do drugs, drink a lot of water, try to surround yourself with like-minded individuals like yourself who's going for, whatever it is that they're going for in their life. And that was pretty much the best advice that I've gotten as far as just becoming the woman that I am today.
So you self-navigated this path, you blazed your own way and you figured it out as you went, which is fabulous, of course. And with everything that's out there now, is there any advice or suggestions that you would give to someone who's questioning their gender identity or considering a transition?
Absolutely. I would say definitely do your research. Now that you have the resources and it's and technology and just the world is a lot more advanced in like the processing. If you are a woman from the South, you're gonna deal with a little bit more of some hiccups because we don't have a lot of access that maybe the New York girls have or maybe the Atlanta girls have because I know in New York they have a lot more supportive, organizations that help with, transitioning, surgeries, X, Y, and Z. So I would just tell anyone who's transitioning to do your research, and you can know who you are in the inside, but sometimes when you let the outside world get
Mhm.
inside your head, they tend to, block that from happening. So I would say block out the negativity. It's going to come, but also do your research and just know who you are from the jump, and then surround yourself with other, supportive friends and family who's going to, help you through this process because the love and support you will definitely need, especially like in the beginning phases of your transition. But then once you get comfortable within the transition and know who you are, you'll be unstoppable.
That's amazing. And when we talk about blazing these trails, navigating your own path, really just lighting that fire and being you, you're still
Yes.
trailblazing. You're actually one of the first transgender NFL cheerleaders. Do you ever feel any additional emotional pressure?
Um, I don't. Every time I hear that, I chuckle a lot and laugh because it's like, um, I'm still tickled at the situation. Like it's amazing, but it's also like, dang, like, am I really the first? Because I literally like had to look this up. Like, am I really the first? And then like I guess I was. I was like, okay, I love this, but it was. I still get very kind of taken aback a little bit when people say it because it's like I'm proud of myself for doing it. I've always wanted to be a professional dancer in the NFL or NBA. I just didn't know how to navigate, to get to that point. So, um, yeah, I just get very tickled still. but I love it.
That's awesome. I love that it was a dream to be professional and to keep performing and perform at those high levels. And you're here doing it. It is absolutely, it's great. You set a goal for yourself. You had the vision in mind. You went after it, and now you're doing it. This is absolutely fabulous. You followed your dream. You had it. You're there. It's amazing. I want to ask you something though. Are there any misconceptions or stereotypes about NFL cheerleaders that you'd like to address?
I know every organization is different, so I can't speak on their behalf, but I think a lot of misconceptions is that, the biggest misconception is that, we're just shaking our pom-poms and just, jumping up and down. That's not the case. Every organization is different. Some have a more cheer background, some have more of a dance background, but every organization is unique in its own way. But I would just say that, we like, we're performers, we're athletes at the end of the day. And I just want us to be treated as, as equally as a professional football player. Because I think, you know, it's a lot of work. You're constantly moving throughout the entire game for 65 minutes out of a game. And, we're performing. We are part of the entire of the game. So I just want people to start looking at us as, not only dancers, but also like athletes, because we literally train our bodies to continue to move the way that it does, whether you're a person who's 17 or 18 or who's 30 to 35 years old. We're still training our bodies. We're still eating healthy. We're having to work out constantly, just to make sure that we are appealing to the eye. And also, just taking it a lot more seriously
And when you step
or
out onto
being
that,
taken more seriously. I'm sorry.
no, no, all good. When you step out onto the stage to perform in front of an audience or the field to perform in front of thousands of people, do you ever get this weird sense of anxiety or, oh my God, I'm here, we're doing it? What does that emotional piece for you look like?
I really felt like dance was like that was that dream, that goal. Um, when you feel like you like some like this particular thing is something that you love or that it's like you. I know that, dance was that for me. I don't ever get nervous when I go out on the field. It's like very normal for me, so I don't get nervous.
Fabulous. And if you had any motivation or inspiration words for anybody who is looking to get into dance, where would you point them? What would you say? Hey, do this first.
I would just say honestly, contact some dance studios within your area. Ask them, what type of classes, they're hosting, whether it's ballet, jazz, hip hop, flamenco, salsa, denim, African style, more modern, more contemporary jazz. And then, just go and watch a class, if they are giving you that option to watch before you actually take, or just ask questions. I normally will just go to a class, take it, and then ask questions afterwards. And then eventually I'll start to become a familiar face within the studio.
Fabulous. And I have time for one last question for you, Justine. I really appreciate your time and thank you so much for being here today. My last question
Absolutely.
for you is, what makes Justine Lindsay smile?
What makes me smile is my family, my mother, my grandmother, the people who have supported me from my journey since I was little to now, and just the people who want to see me grow. That's what makes me happy. Um, and to look back and see how much progress I've made in my life was from the negative to the positive. And it just makes me happy and excited to know that the other 30 years that's upon me is going to be even better. And I'm just very, very blessed to be in a position that I'm in today, to be a leader within our community. And just, that, this is me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm trans, but at the end of the day, I'm still professional. I'm still able to you know, do what I love to do at the age of 30 now. And I'm very, very blessed. So that's what makes me smile for sure.
Fabulous. Again, that's all the time I have for you, Justine. Thank you so much for your time. It was an absolute pleasure. Everyone out there, remember to smile to inspire and have a fantastic day. Thank you.
Thank you.